guys. I am Shane Davis, Twit-the-Year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn, and we are talking about something that's more in Yanzi's wheelhouse. She is a pony fan and out here fighting on Twitter, swinging and slugging, fighting for My Little Pony representation everywhere. Let's get into it. What's going on with My Little Pony, Yanzi?
Well, it's the same old, you see. You make a show that is popular, it gets out there, it expands beyond the fan base, the normies get into it and they start demanding representation. Y'all, it's so important. I must be represented. I must see myself in there. Otherwise, it means nothing to me. So this is what has been happening on Twitter. In the year 2024, people are bullying Andy Price, which is a long-time My Little Pony comic artist. He actually started the new line of Generation 4 My Little Pony comics, for not drawing what they perceive as a black-coded pony correctly, because he didn't draw Afro-style hair. Hasbro mandated him to draw it otherwise, but fans like these are insufferable. So I started with this tweet. And now, guys, obviously, don't go contacting all these people. Leave them alone and stuff. Just point and laugh. That's good enough. Saying, I just read this book and it's a super cute comic. I'm very excited for more, but I do have a question. And she tags Andy Price. What's with Misty's mane? It looks like a totally different mane style with hair texture and all the cowlicks and lack of a cornrows. So yeah, see the focus, the mane style, the hair texture, lack of cornrows. Guys, you already know where this is going.
Right.
Why isn't my pony black, y'all?
Yeah. And I feel bad for Andy in this situation because he is now 1 foot on a landmine. There is going to be, going forward in this whole conversation, you're about to see no right way to tackle or answer this question because he happens to be white. And obviously this person perceives this pony to be black. And they don't feel like he drew the hair appropriately to match the race. And just so you know, the only racehorse there is a racehorse. Ultra Combo! Okay. Bad pun. There you guys go. That's my contribution.
All right. Now, Andy Price, to be fair, at the beginning, when he got tagged in this tweet, his response was like, wow, ... thanks. I mean, I get it. This man probably gets hounded by My Little Pony fans to every con he goes to saying, thanks for drawing this, thanks for drawing that. And then this person's like, well, no thanks because you didn't draw it right. He's like, wow, thanks. Then he came back and wrote and explained why he answered the person's question. This is a reference I was told to use. We were explicitly told not to use the 3D versions, which is this version here with what they've won, cornrows and hair texture, blah, blah, blah.
And there's a lot of reasons that could be. And without doing some internal deep dive at Hasbro, here's an example. When I worked at Marvel Comics, I would do a lot of covers, but I also started working on some Spider-Man books, Marvel Age Spider-Man, that was specifically tailored towards Target around the time that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were coming out. And if I drew Spider-Man on the cover and I wanted the lifted webbing off the suit, like the ribbed webbing and have a highlight on the webbing, Marvel would say, no, you have to go in and take that out. And it's like, why? That's Spider-Man, the Spider-Man suit. Yeah, you drew it fine. But the lifted webbing, the black lifted webbing, that is a Sony Studio Spider-Man. And that's the difference between it being on a t-shirt or a product. Does Sony get paid or does Marvel get paid? There are these weird, especially with film and different animation houses, a lot of times production companies and stuff will put their unique stamp on it. That means that's their product versus any other product. And they get part of the money. So there's a lot of ins and outs there that he's probably being asked not to draw the 3D animated hair.
Well, that sounds plausible considering that IDW is the one in control of the My Little Pony comics, so maybe they have to adhere to certain rules. Of course, they're not happy. They're like, okay, but that's still not really the same hairstyle as you drew, though. And then blah, 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 different hairstyle, different texture. There are people basically responding and continue to say things like, looks like the artist's first attempt at an afro look, crying face. Looks so bad. Where are her braids? It's like, all right, he's going to see. Andy's going to go in there and draw every single curly curl just to satisfy you. And here's one that's interesting. They say the artist on the team may not know how to draw her type of hair. And nobody in production really caught this. Especially since Hasbro is trying to push this out now that G5 is almost over. I could be. Yeah, you're very, very wrong.
So there's basically a model guide that an artist is given, and you have to stick to model. Now, the model guide might be completely different than the computer model guide for a 2D version. And a lot of times things are going to be simplified. Like, let's say if he went in and he drew every braid on that horse's mane, right? It would not fit in with the rest of the, say, leaves on the tree because basically the style guide is going to kind of, I know this sounds weird outside of just the character's model sheet and the look, but it's also gonna set the amount of detail that is in that world. Style guides oftentimes just aren't on characters. Sometimes they'll be like, "This is a rock, this is a tree, this is a house." That way, no matter how many hands are working on it, there is a certain consistency in the level of detail in the 2D animation. You look at something like Bluey, they have a very, basic detail that they're gonna apply to not just the characters, but everything in it. You look at something like Studio Ghibli, a completely different thing. You'll see every leaf painted on a tree in the background or a blade of grass. So these things are set, and every artist has to adhere to it. If they hire 5 artists for My Little Pony, all 5 artists, no matter what their race, no matter what their religion is, no matter what their sexuality is, no matter what the race of the perceived race of the horse is, they are supposed to stick to that model sheet. That is their job.
Well, at the end of it, Andy only has this thing to say about it. I may be done. You know, Andy, I feel bad for you. He literally made the My Little Pony comic a success. He started the Generation 4 comic line with the first issue. Andy Price is synonymous with My Little Pony comic. And this is how they treat him. Why? For some perceived slight. Now, here he actually answered that person and said, I answered your questions. Clearly, they're not to your satisfaction, but I answered your question. It's like, well, what else can you do, Andy? This person asked, why is the hair not the way I like it? And then he's like, well, here's your answer. And of course, they go in and say, you are passive aggressive. Really?
I mean, there was no safe way for him to answer this because in the end, it's either you didn't do it right for their representation, or two, you're white. Is there somebody more the color of that character to draw? Which to me, and this is something that's affected like mainstream comics, Marvel and DC, especially creator representation. You could end up with a Justice League, and let's say Black Lightning's on the team. Do you hire one artist to step in and draw every panel that Black Lightning's in? What God forbid it's a group shot. And do you have a woman draw Wonder Woman and then you get a guy to draw Black Lightning? I mean, it's impossible for this work to be done. In the end, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for more representation and not just representation of characters and pushing it on horses, mind you. Like, that's a little weird, right? They're also pushing it on, like, the creators. I mean, for him, when he says, "I may be done," he knows this he may not be able to work on this property anymore because now there is a Twitter mob out to say, "You did not represent me or you hurt my feelings." If you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification, give Yanzi a follow at Twitter. She gets a little kicked up here with people on Twitter every now and then.
So then some people came in and said, you guys, don't worry. They're not actually attacking Andy. Nobody's calling him a racist. Well, guess what? Here are some people here literally saying, damn, they whitewashed that horse. Okay. And then this person here down there says, you're not wrong. The way it's drawn in the comics is not her hair texture. Texturism is a hideous beast. Why if a child picks up on this? Texturism, there's a thing now. Your hair texture does not correlate to the race, and there's a wait. When is hair texture about races? Oh my god!
And this is a bit of a thing, actually. Like drawing cornrows on characters is appropriation. Technically, I guess that's what they say. I don't agree with it. I mean, I just think it's a hairstyle. I mean, many of characters have had different hairstyles that don't necessarily line up with their ethnic background. And this is an argument. It's been since the 90s. Like, are white people allowed to have dreadlocks? They're allowed to. Why not? Like, if people want one, why not? But this is the thing. I draw cornrows on the character anatomic all the time. But, she's also a fighter. And again, is that appropriation or is it just practical to have your hair done up that way in a fight? I don't know. Is this a racism thing? Not so much to me.
For some people, it clearly is racism. Like this person here responding to me and say, "Oh, girl, If you don't know how hair texture correlates to race, you aren't even ready to have this nuance of a race-focused argument. 2 times she mentioned race in one single sentence. Get educated and have a nice day. So
Yeah.
guys, like I said right here, this is the type of modern audience Hasbro cultivated. No wonder they dropped G5 My Little Pony. Yeah, news came out. Generation 5 is being axed. They're going back to G4, which it was very profitable for Hasbro, so I don't blame them. Now, my final stance is right here, and that is when I say, hair textures have no race for pastel ponies. I don't need race-focused discussions on a fantasy world with talking ponies. And if you really want to have your race-based pastel ponies, make your own talking pony show instead. Thank you. Thank you.
So to let you guys know, we do crowdfund books, and we do have our campaign closing in 5 days. Inglorious Rex Volume 3, $192,223. If you guys will, please go check this out. Also, if you guys are into space cats, maybe check out Starlight Cats. This is in our store on 9 Lives Comics. The link is down below. These do ship out next day. Little Girl, Big Adventures, Cats in Space. But right now, Inglorious Rex 3 is the campaign that is closing down. We've done multiple campaigns, and we hope to get your support. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this smash hit comic. We'll catch you guys again with another video.